like to be a little closer to you guys closer to me. You can just come a little closer. Great. Good thing is that I'm on the pulpit, so if my breath smells, you won't smell it. Right. A little closer. How's everybody doing?
Good.
What do you guys think of the conference so far? It's pretty good, right? Informative. Give you these nice premium waters. So there. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you guys some notes. I can semi-prepare this morning, so I have notes for you guys.
Thank you.
So instead of you guys having to write down your own notes, you can write notes on these nicely prepared notebooks that I made for you guys. Go ahead. Well, that's what it's for. Okay. All right. Okay. If you could just pass this around and sign your name, because every time I do a workshop, I do it at the end, and everybody leaves, and we miss an opportunity to get the names of those who are in the workshop. So let me give you guys a little bit of an introduction, but yeah, let's switch. Sure. One, two. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Sound better? Yes. Much better. Good, good. Okay, so as I was saying, giving you guys a little bit of an introduction. By the way, do you know what this is for?
Yeah, it's for the yellow bag at the bottom.
Oh, is it for the bottom of the yellow bag?
Yeah.
I thought they were creative. I thought this was something that they were able to write notes on. I thought it was like, so I was in my room and I'm just like wondering, what is this for? And then I figured it was for that. Oh, it's the bottom of the bag. I thought I was smart here. I thought I discovered what it was for. Nope, I was wrong. Okay, so introduction. My name, well, the title of this workshop is Eradicating Fatherlessness Through Reconnection and Mentoring. I'm excited that you decided to stay with me for the next hour and a half. There's so many wonderful workshops going on, and I am extremely happy to be a part of this conference. The main reason is because the emphasis for this conference is about fatherhood. You know, and fatherhood is a topic extremely dear and close to me, and the opportunity to come and present concerning fatherhood is an amazing privilege for me. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this workshop, and I hope and pray that you will be leaving here entertained somewhat, excited about incorporating new programs for your fathers in your programs, and that's about it. Did you guys get any notes? Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So, introduction. Who am I? You see those four handsome young men right there? Well, one is a little older than young. That's me right there with the shades. The tall one, who's taller than me now, and he reminds me of every single chance he gets, is my oldest son, Isaiah, 17, he'll be 18 in December, graduated high school. By the skin of his teeth, we just needed him out of high school. Like, he just made it, but he made it. Now, here is my clone. I call him my clone. Out of all three of my sons, he's the one that's most like me. That's Nathaniel. He's my 13-year-old. He's home now, and I just spoke with him. And they may Skype me in a few. So if they Skype me, they'll have a chance to meet them. We'll see. And this is Gabriel. He is my little firecracker. Okay, that's my youngest. Both Nathaniel and Gabriel are Head Start kids. Both of them attended the Head Start that I actually work at right now. And this is pretty much who I am. A little confession, I had an opportunity, and I call it an opportunity because it was a good thing, to go through counseling. And the first thing that the counselor said to me is, your identity is in your kids. It is. I'm very proud to be a father. So this is who I am. This is my qualification for what I do. They're my motivation for life. Everything that I do is to push them forward. So every accomplishment that I make in my life, my desire is that they would meet and excel at. Okay? I want them to I want to raise the bar in my life so that at least they meet me where I'm at and go even further. So this is who I am. My name is Andre D. Harrison. I am a Head Start family worker and a father program coordinator for our Head Start. This is a couple of things that I do. I am an author. My book is called From a Fatherless Father to His Sons. One of you here today will win that book. Okay, we have a couple of games we're going to play. One of you will win that book. Okay, this is the Head Start that I work at, and the fathers in our program. See this lady right here? That's the director of the program. She's sitting right there. Raise your hand, Ms. Hilda. She found out I was coming to the Virgin Islands, and being the great micromanaging supervisor that she is, she had to come and make sure that I was doing my job here, probably in the Virgin Islands in St. Thomas. So she's here watching me and taking notes. So I'm glad that she had an opportunity to come with her husband, Al. So Al is there. And I do want to introduce you to Mr. Wayne Goldberg, who is the gentleman, handsome gentleman right there with the hat. He is, I guess, the overseer of the Young Love programs that we have in Brooklyn and Staten Island. So I'm happy that they have an opportunity to witness this workshop. I speak on occasion in different conferences. I had an opportunity to go a few places, Puerto Rico, Los Angeles, locally, DC. I travel and I speak about the topic of fatherhood. And I also produce videos on YouTube for fatherhood involvement, engagement, tutorial videos such as how to tie a tie for young men that are growing up without fathers who need to learn how to tie a tie, how to shave. I learned how to shave my freshman year in college. Before that, a razor never touched my face. Why? Because I didn't have a father to teach me how to do those things. I am a fatherless adult. Well, not anymore. I grew up not knowing my father, and there was a whole side of me that I had no idea. My father was Puerto Rican. My mother's family is from Trinidad, and I grew up, I guess, in a Trinidadian type of culture. And I didn't know my father, and I desired to know who he was. And I had a chance to meet him 5 years ago, and it was an odd experience because when I first met him, he asked to go down the street. So he walked down the street, and he went into this liquor store, bought one of those bottles of rum, Bacardi rums, took the whole thing down and said, he's good. So Andre, tell me about yourself. So, but I had an opportunity to meet him, and I'm happy I did. But my experience not growing up without a father made me desire to be a better father to my kids, a father that I never had. I'm not sure if anyone was in the workshop today with Kenneth Braswell. He showed the video, Spit Anger. I had an opposite effect where he was so angry at his dad. Me, I sort of pitied my father for not being there, especially after speaking to him and finding out the sad reasons why. We're going to get into that in this workshop, okay? We're going to play a little game, okay? It's called Name That Thing, okay? We got some prizes for you guys, some prizes that I picked up for you guys locally. And the last one will be a copy of my book, okay? All right, name that thing. Please raise your hand. Do not call it out, okay? If you recognize the thing, raise your hand, and I'll get you the answer, okay? Where is this from? It's tough, right? Nope, not Lion King. Give up? Who wants to be a millionaire? Okay, but listen, I bought these prizes, so I can't go home with them because my luggage will be overpacked. They're gonna charge me extra for luggage fees. So, who has a birthday in October? Today's not your birthday.
Yes, it is.
You are lying. Everybody say happy birthday. Okay, so I'm gonna give you this mug. Please fill it up with a non-alcoholic drink because if you drink more of that, you may not be full.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. What's your name?
Amber Gordon.
Happy birthday, Amber. Everybody say happy birthday, Amber.
Happy birthday, Amber.
All right, next one.
Oh, Lord.
It's all like game shows. No. Yeah. Say it.
No, that's not this. This is,
Yeah.
yes, the Jeopardy.
Deputy, nope.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
that's,
Wheel of Fortune. It'll come up, I promise. But that was Wheel of Fortune. Now, we're in the Virgin Islands, right? We have pools, beaches, and if you've ever been in that beach water, that salt water kills. Like, your eyes, it burns. I was out there. So I think one of the most considerate things I could give somebody who was prize is goggles because you don't want to go into that water, right? And it burn your eyes. And by the way, is your birthday today too? Is your birthday today? No, okay. It's not her birthday, everybody. All right, so thank you. That was Wheel of Fortune, but what about this one?
Oh, no.
Amber, I can't know. It's your birthday, no, but we gotta give somebody else a chance. All right, I think I saw your hand first.
that's
5, 4, 3, 2.
this is Jeopardy.
Is it Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Jeopardy. Okay. Now that was the final one. So you get a copy of the book. What is your name?
Kim.
Kim. Everybody say hi, Kim.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Kim. I hope you like it. If you don't like it, fill the edit.
Thank you.
All right. Now here's a question. What do all three have in common? Well, they're all game shows, but something in particular. Oh, yeah, music, obvious. You had your hand raised? What do they all have in common? At what point are those themes played?
During the question phase.
And what happens? You have a limited amount of time. You have a limited amount of time to answer a question before the song runs out, and then you lose the game or you lose the prize. All right? Now, time is a huge thing when it comes to fatherhood. I came up with this quote all by myself. I promise you, I didn't get it from anywhere else. Fatherlessness is a subtle snake in the field of urban communities, binding families and crippling children. I firmly believe this. If you go into urban communities, you actually see it. And it could be fatherlessness in the sense that the father may be around, they just don't interact with the kids, they're not engaged with the kids at all. And they don't know their dad at all. They never had an opportunity to meet their father, just like me. I grew up, and the title of my book is From a Fatherless Father to a Son. That's because I started writing the book before I met my father, and at that time, I was a fatherless father. But this is a major thing in our communities, and I'm sure that you feel it in the Head Starts and the childhood centers that you work at. Now, what is at stake when a dad doesn't take the time?
Nearly 40% of all children in the United States are born out of wedlock.
Nearly 35% of Caucasian children are born out of wedlock.
More than half of all Hispanic children in the U.S. are born out of wedlock.
More than 70% of all African-American children are born out of wedlock. without their biological fathers. This means 24 million kids are growing up in homes without their dads. Children who grew up in fatherless homes are 5 times as likely to be born.
These boys and girls are 2 times as likely to drop out of high school, 2 times as likely to end up in jail, and 4 times as likely to have emotional and behavioral problems. 71% of pregnant teenagers grow up without a father.
71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes.
70% of juveniles in state reform institutions grew up in single-parent homes or without parents.
Children who grow up in fatherless homes are twice as likely to use alcohol or illegal drugs.
63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes.
Walking in the darkness, you were calling us to be. Will you make a difference?
Will you make a difference
Will you make a difference?
so that I can live a better life?
Will you make a difference?
Will you make a difference
So I don't become a parent before I'm ready.
You can make a difference.
So that I don't have to give myself away to feel loved. You can make a difference.
so I don't have to get high to numb the pain?
You can make a difference.
You can make a difference.
You can make a difference.
So I don't look to gangs to be my family.
You can make a difference. You can make a difference.
So that I don't have to learn what it means to be a man from the streets. You can make a difference.
You can make a difference.
You can make a difference.
So that I can experience the love of Christ. Fix His words of mine in your hearts and minds.
Teach them to your children.
Talking about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road.
When you lie down and when you get up.
Deuteronomy 11, 18, and 19.
Now, fatherlessness affects urban communities, and not just urban communities, live communities, but in the head starts that we work with, a lot of our families are from urban communities, low-income families, and single-parent homes. And there's a higher rate of fatherlessness in African-American single-parent homes. Now, I am a child that grew up without my father. I have a sister, a twin sister, and we didn't know our father growing up. And we weren't the only ones. There was another child that he had named Joshua who did not know our father at all. And both me and my sister, at least from what I can experience, we both grew up a little bit socially awkward. We had a hard time in school. I had a hard time interacting with females, all because I didn't have my father growing up, or I didn't have a positive male role model. Because it was very awkward. I seemingly seemed like a normal kid, but emotionally I was awkward, socially I was awkward. I found myself more comfortable alone than I was with other people. And I'm not sure if you've experienced that with some of the kids in your programs, but these are things that you have to realize and understand and identify. What's at stake? Now you start writing your notes down now. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. And this is from the United States Department, the U.S. Department of Census and Health. That's 5 times the national average. So kids without fathers are 5 times more likely to commit suicide growing up. Now, the reason why I'm glad you guys are here is because we're trying to put an end to this and start at a young age. Head Start is an early childhood education program. We're trying to get them young so that when they grow up, they don't have to be 5 times more likely to commit suicide as adults. The 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. That's 32 times the national average. 90%. 85% of all children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. 20 times the average, okay? Now, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with a guy named Dr. Umar Johnson. I don't believe and follow or rock with everything that he teaches, but I forgot the acronym that he has for ADHD. What happens is a lot of young kids who are expressing, particularly young males, who are expressing behavior disorders come from fatherless homes, and they're diagnosed with what? ADHD, all right? And I think he's a child psychologist, but to be jokeful, to be funny, he made up an acronym saying absent dad at home, ADHD, something like that. But 85% of children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. Now, we work in Head Start, and we come across maybe some children who are exhibiting behavior disorders, and children can get diagnosed with ADHD as early as maybe 3, So we can probably assess that the likelihood that they're growing up without a father is high. 80% of rapists with anger problems come from fatherless homes. That's 14 times the average. And I put the references there so that you can research these yourself. Okay, I didn't make these numbers up. You can research them yourself. 71%, now this is big for us, because the whole reason why we have Head Start is to give these kids what? A Head Start in education, right? 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes, 9 times the average. 71%. That means you have a responsibility working with Head Start to not just give your child a Head Start education, but also equip them with somebody, if they are from a fatherless home, who cares about them, a positive role model that would care for them, so that when they grow up and it's time for them to graduate high school, they actually graduate. Children with fathers who are involved are 40% less likely to repeat a grade in school. Guess who got left back in the 4th grade? This guy right here. Not proud of it, but it could have been a result of me not having a father. Children with fathers who are involved are 70% less likely to drop out of school. 70%. Children with fathers who are involved are more likely to enjoy school and engage in extracurricular activities. 75% of all adolescent patients in chemical abuse centers come from fatherless homes, 10 times the average. Now, let me make this clear. The term fatherlessness for some time was used for young kids growing up without fathers and young kids growing up without fathers in the home. Okay? I separated. I make sure that there's a distinction. Even though dad's not living in the home, he can still be extremely engaged and active, which means that that child is not what? Not fatherless. He has a father. What providers' goals should not be. Okay? Create programs simply catering to only fathers. Okay? And let me explain this. We have a fatherhood program that's exclusively for fathers. But our outcome is not just simply for fathers to have time with their kids, so that fathers can have time with their kids, learn to appreciate the mother of their kids better, learn to appreciate time with their kids. So when we have our fatherhood programs, we make sure that the outcome is family oriented, not just for fathers. All right? We believe, and I believe, that communities are broken today because fathers are not as engaged as they need to be. Okay? In the United States, there's been this huge thing about gun violence, and in fact, in the presidential race, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a hot topic: gun violence, right? Now, I don't get into whether or not I believe that people should walk around with guns or not. That's not my concern. My concern is guns in the streets and what motivates these men to shoot one another. To shoot one another. Now, we look at the problem like that and we say, okay, we need to get guns off the street. We get guns off the street. All we're doing is pretty much trying to hit a comet with a bullet, because we're still not getting to the core issue of it. I believe that the core issue is that there are not enough men in the communities being leaders and being fathers in their homes. And here's the thing. We want strong communities, right? We can't get strong communities without building strong families, right? And we can't build strong families without what? Building strong men and building strong fathers. You can't have it. All right, so that's why when you create a program, it can't simply cater only to fathers. If it is exclusively for dads, the outcome has to be family-based. Focus on fatherlessness, fatherless sons or fatherless daughters, only on one. You can't have a program focusing on one particular gender. It's got to be both. focus on, you can't have a program focusing only on fatherless sons and fatherless daughters. Creating only monthly meetings that focus on fathers. Right? That means that if you have a program that runs a 12-month program, that means that you only meet with the fathers 12 times out of the year. That's not an effective program. It's got to be more than that. You have a question?
Yes. We try to focus on fathers because I come from Far Rockaway. We're hit by Sandy. We're really recovering. And like if I have like a special day, like we had dads take your child to school day, I'm sure.
Who else participated in that? Did dad take your child to school day?
And at that time, compared to last year where I had 10 fathers, this year I had like 35 to 40 fathers. But it's still only for that one day. I've even brought in Forestdale, they're in Forest Hill, Queens, and they're a fathering mentorship. And I brought them in to maybe, have a monthly meeting with fathers. And what I notice is that even if we bring in speakers, they're still not showing up. And when I'm at a loss, it's like, what else can I do to bring them in? I mean, I have a few fathers that know without a doubt, they're always at my meetings, without a doubt. And these are the fathers that I know. And you can see the difference in their children, you really can. And then I have the fathers who only come in, oh, I gotta go. Oh, I gotta go, I can't stay. So how do I get those fathers to stay?
Can you save that question till the end?
Yes, I can.
We can discuss
Yes,
it.
I can.
All right, so save that question till the end, okay? So creating only monthly meetings that focus on fathers. Right? Try to create a program that expands outside of the monthly meetings or maybe weekly meetings that you have with fathers. Get them in volunteering in the classrooms. Get them in doing readings. If you have a special function, like Dr. Seuss Day. Who here participates in Dr. Seuss Day? It's a literary day. Get them coming in dressed in as cat in a hat, go to classrooms and read a Dr. Seuss book. Get them involved. Gimmick-based programming that produces minimum results. Okay, stay away from gimmicks. All right, men hate gimmicks. We do. We don't want to go to a gimmick-based program because we just don't have time for that. A lot of the fathers that we work with that actually are involved are working dads. So as you said, they come, they drop the kids off, if we do see them, and they leave right away. So they're not going to stay for a gimmick-based program. After-school programs that only serve children for a couple of hours a day. Don't set up a latchkey program thinking that you can help dads by, while they're at work, keeping them for a little while. You got to have something more than that. Get the fathers engaged, okay? Here are some goals that you could implement, and you can come up with goals yourself, to provide resources to fathers and men to become better engaged. All right, so not just have a monthly meeting, set up an email list and go on the internet, look for educational resources that you can send an email blast to all the dads in your school. Also, that's a big thing, constant contact with the fathers will increase the amount of engaged fathers you have in your programs. Incorporate the community and building of fathers and mentors. There are a lot of resources in your communities that if you do your homework and research, they will come in and help you with your fatherhood program. Or you can outsource the fathers in your programs to whatever organization that would help them become better engaged. Connect fatherless children with responsible male role model. Okay. Now this is tough because I'm not sure if your Head Start program has this. Right? We don't have that yet. But it would be a nice thing if Head Start was able to start a program that found and did proper background checks on positive male role models that will come in and mentor the children who are growing up without fathers. That would be an amazing thing. Help single mothers establish a strong support system, which also includes support of the father. Sometimes we can be a little bit judgmental based on the appearance of a child, and a single mom could be extremely overwhelmed with what's happening in her life, right? As family workers, as child psychologists, as teachers, and as Head Start workers, our responsibility is the well-being of the child. That means we should be concerned about the well-being of the family. And if mom is overwhelmed, we should be trying to help her establish a stronger support system within her community and family. Mentor immediate custodial and non-custodial parental disputes. Okay, I'm talking about to the best of your ability, nothing professional. Okay, if you are familiar with an issue that's affecting a kid, bring both mom and dad in. try your best to mediate the situation, right? So that it affects the child positively. And if not, then you refer them to court. But I try to avoid family court as much as possible. Because once family court comes in, then it adds a whole different stress factor in the life of the child, in the life of the family. This is provided that the children and mother are not in any danger, okay? Now, we're gonna do a little exercise, okay? Now, everybody's sitting at tables. I want you guys to get a little closer. You guys are gonna do a little exercise. You're gonna break into groups and discuss ways providers, such as yourself, can support families through reconnection, all right? It's gonna be just a few minutes, okay? So, discuss ways that you guys can implement fatherhood engagement or new programs in your program for fathers, and talk about ways that you guys can implement fatherhood involvement and reconnection. Because there's a lot of kids growing up without fathers, and if we can reconnect them somehow with their dads, that'd be a good thing. So what ways do you think that you can do, things that you can do to sort of reconnect dad with their child? We're gonna read some of your responses afterwards. We're gonna take a few minutes to do that.
I'm sorry, this is what we're doing right now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're doing like a discussion. Okay.
So give you guys 2 more minutes. I have 1 more minute. Give you guys one more minute, and we're going to read some of your responses. Okay, final thoughts before we get started. You guys finish up? You done? All right. So let's see for the first one. What role does both parents play in the life of their children? Yes.
Both parents play a provider. They're supporters. They're nurturers. We're hoping that they're nurturing the child and ultimately be parents to their children.
Okay.
You know.
Anybody else?
That's the ultimate.
Yes.
Sorry. I feel that the presence of both parents give children a balance that they're looking for, because one parent is not always has the answer. So, a father, of course, can meet a need, and then, the mother as well. So having the presence of both parents, even if they're not even like in the home, but just the presence of the father along with, the mother provides, I believe, provides a healthy balance.
Now, a little bit of insight of my life. I'm also a single father. The three boys that you show in the picture are my sons, and they live with me after my divorce. I have custody of my kids, and it's been since 2009. And I love being a single father. Well, I love being a dad. Let me not say I don't like being a single father. Okay, I would love. let me just make that straight. But one thing that I experienced for a little while, and I had to sort of condition my children's educators, is that the kids live with me. Okay, now rightfully so. If we are dealing with families with single mothers, the first person that we contact initially would be a single mom, because they live in the home with the child. Okay, if you can't get in touch with the child, naturally what we should be doing is getting in touch with dad right after. Okay, the ideal situation that both dads involved, they're both equally involved, equally important. However, because mom is living in the home with the dad, mom should be contacted first. But my kids' school knew that the kids were living with me. They would contact mom first anyway, right? So it was contact mom first anyway. And when mom would call me, she would tell me, well, they need you because, so-and-so is happening, so you need to go to school right away, So I think that we have to get to a place where we start conditioning ourselves to think of parents both as equal, so that if something does happen in school, mom may not be the right person to call right away. It could be dad, or even in our intakes, discuss those things with the parents. So in the case of an emergency, who would be the best person to contact first? Instead of us assuming right away that mom is always the best person to contact first. Yes, you have it?
Yes, me and her were just discussing how, like, when parents do the application, I don't know if some of you noticed, they don't even list the father on the application at all, because on a Head Start application, you have primary parent and secondary parent. It's blank on more than 90% of our applications. But what I told her, what we've been doing is, and what I kind of make them do, put the father down as emergency contact. I gotta have his name somewhere on the application, because nowadays women, they don't want nobody in their business, or they don't want you to know this, or who's living with them. So they don't list that. But like I said, that's the only way I can even get the father's name, is to put them down as emergency contact.
But that's a good thing, because you're still in the process of you doing that. You may not realize you're doing it, but you're still educating her in the importance of how important that is in the situation. So every time you do that, you're conditioning mom to thinking that, okay, I may be living alone with the kids, but dad is still equally important.
Because a lot of times, especially what I noticed with a lot of the young boys, a lot of the 4-year-old boys, well, not the little ones, but the 4-year-olds, that like, we have a little child, sometimes he acts out, and they always say, I'm gonna call your mom. You say dad, watch it straight up. And it's just something about that. You say, I'm gonna call your father, or the teacher mentions father, they straighten it right up. Do you notice that? Yeah. So that's what I've kind of been pushing. Like, of course we call the mom, but I would prefer to talk to dad with the young men. I just do. And and I've had some flack from the parents. I call him because I couldn't get tough with you now. So really, I have to say something. Yeah. But that's what we've been doing. I mean, it's been a hard struggle to get fathers involved. It really, really has. Yeah.
We're going to discuss more ways. Well, actually, the next question is, does your program presently have a fatherly program? Describe how it helps fathers become better engaged and involved. Anybody would like to answer that? Does anybody have a fatherly program presently in their programs? Yeah,
suggestions.
Okay, well, let's hear them.
Definitely have about like some specific father activities like sports, father family events. We thought about fostering relationships between the centers and the church. The greater suggestion, create a mentor program of men at church for fatherless children at the center. Also, educate men on the roles. We can even use the church or other avenues to educate the men that are at the center, that the children go to the center, about how to be better men. Yeah. So they can create some sort of mentoring workshops and push Father's Day. Because I want to tell you, here in the Virgin Islands, Mother's Day is huge. But when we have Father's Day, the hotels don't have a buffet.
Know what you should do? Bring me out Father's Day. You fly me to Virgin Islands? I got you.
And also, I just mentioned too, recognizing the fathers more at the center. You can have like a little special appreciation day or appreciation night at the centers for the fathers. So, because I even mentioned to them, my daughter and I wrote like 3 Father's Day songs. We need to just remember Dad, acknowledge what they do. And I think we need to take more time to push it from a community wide. So maybe the community will bring it. I don't know where they have the money to do that.
Yeah. Another thing that we can be doing is a call to action. Every time we have a fatherhood program, send them home with some homework. A call to action. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. So if you have something that you're having with the dads, send them home with something to do with their kids, something to practice. Okay. Which statistic stuck out to you most and why? Yes.
Behavioral disorders.
Grab the mic.
Behavioral disorders is the statistic that stood out to me because thinking about some of the children at my center who had, some issues and, where teachers have concerns, I'm trying to think about the families and it's like, wow, it's kind of right on point, and I didn't realize that it was such an impact because I came from a fatherless home. It affected my sister more than it did me, but I just never thought about how it's affecting the children now because we do have a Father's Day breakfast for our fathers. But then I got women coming to eat and say, oh, I'm a father. Yeah. Do you know, for real? Like, I'm like, no, this food is for the dad. Oh, I'm a father. And I hate it. And I tell them, girl, I had something for you in Mother's Day. You ate. Let them eat. No, really. And I had to tell them, I'm sorry, but are you anatomically a man and get away from the table?
Here's the thing. So
it really gets like that sometimes.
And the thing is, some fathers feel, like mothers feel like dads are optional in raising kids. Yeah. Dads start to think that also, So when moms are showing up to events like that, that's supposed to be, celebrating fathers. The father's like, well, okay, I'm optional anyway, and if she's doing everything well, it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be, and like I said, I mean, I'm sure in every community, but Far Rockaway, it's a community in transition.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of gentrification because of the storm. It washed a lot of old out. It brought in a lot of new, but a lot of people don't fit into the new. Can you understand what I'm saying? And you're getting resentment, a lot of it, because me, myself, I luckily, my oldest daughter, her father was there, but then I got married. My husband was a father to my children. So they have a father, yes. But a lot of people aren't that lucky.
Yeah.
And you can see it. Like even some of the young fathers, like what are you, and sometimes you're like, what's going on? Like, it's not just about picking them up, you taking them to the store. It's so much more. Love is not about buying chips and juice.
Yeah.
It's not about that. And like I said, I'm really at a loss. That's why I'm here. I'm just trying to learn and find some strategies to conquer this issue.
All right. Anybody else? A statistic that really touched them? All right. Jails. Yeah.
But an interesting since you mentioned that.
Can somebody pass her the mic? So thank you.
Yeah, I'm mentioning the incarcerated, the statistic of that. But it's interesting, I didn't see anything relevant to relationships, divorce, or that sort of thing, because I'm wondering, do you think that you being fatherless had an effect on your relationship? Is that too deep?
Good question. Do me a favor. Remember that question. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to remember that question. Remember that to the end. I don't mind answering it. I don't mind getting too deep with you guys. All right. So say that to the end. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Last one. Realizing how the statistics are in favor of fatherhood involvement. How can your program aid families without fathers in the home? Or without fathers. We don't want to say fathers in the home. Without fathers. Anybody? Well, hopefully, hopefully by the end of this workshop, you'll have some ideas to take home to your programs that would be able to help families that are that don't have a father at all. Now, we have to discuss also why some fathers are not around, right? Family court is a major issue for fathers, okay? Many non-custodial fathers are intimidated by family court with good reason. With good reason. In a lot of cities in the United States, probably even in the Virgin Islands, the courts are favorable to mom. So dads already feel like they're going into family court at a handicap. Many fathers are ignorant to the process of custody, visitation, and child support. We know this because there may be a situation where, you know, the relationship didn't work and they break up. Mom take the kid and they say, "Hey, you never see the kids anymore. Not only that, you're gonna buy me that condition with your child support, all that stuff. Watch, you're never gonna see a child again, but you are gonna pay the child support." They're afraid of that. Many rulings are subject to the judgment of the referee or magistrate. Okay, so it's not even like a scientific way to determine anything. It's just out of the judgment of one particular person. And many fathers are unaware that they have rights. The dads in your programs have rights as fathers, all right? What's happening now is, and I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard this, right? In the state of New Jersey, if a single mother, right, wants to adopt their child, that and the child didn't really have much of a relationship with the dad, they can adopt the child, and if dad wants custody of the child, dad has to pay to have access to the child and all that stuff. Okay, where the adopting family may have a free lawyer to help them, but dad will have to pay to get the child back. What I love about New York State is this: in a situation where a single mother is going to adopt a child, that mom has to have clearance from the father to make that happen. They give the dad the right to have access and have custody of the child before giving the child to some stranger, which is a beautiful thing in my eyes. Not necessarily all the time, because to be honest, some dads are not the best influence for children. But still, dads have rights. And I hope that these rights in different states will begin to increase. Some of the reasons why fathers leave: they can't handle the pressure of fatherhood. They feel unequipped to be a dad. They're conditioned to thinking that fatherhood is optional, and fathers may feel inadequate. Let me ask you a question. How do you think I got these?
Yourself.
By talking to my dad who wasn't there. These are the reasons why my father told me he wasn't there. Oh, and I forgot, child support. He didn't want to have to pay it. Okay. So these are the reasons he told me. Now we're going to watch a quick video. I got this from Oprah's life class of a father sharing his testimony.
I wanted to hear from a father who admits to walking away from his children. Now, he doesn't represent your father, but I wanted to get an idea of what goes on in a man's head when he can walk away. Dwayne in our audience says that's exactly what he did. Where's Dwayne? Dwayne? Yeah. Thank you for being here. And tell us why you left your kids and your wife.
Well, the situation was kind of volatile for a little bit. But the reason I walked away is because at the moment, I wasn't the man that I wanted to be for them. And one thing led to another, marijuana, alcohol. I put them on a higher pedestal than I put myself. So at a point, I wasn't worthy to be in their life because I wasn't the man that I would want for them. So that's kind of why I stayed away.
And is that true, Ron? Would you stand up there? Yeah. Is that true in your experience in dealing with so many men that if they can't be what in their minds is the ideal, yes, they aren't the quote perfect dad in their own head, that they just say, well, I'm just going to give it up?
Yeah, no, I see that quite a bit as a fact. As a matter of fact, you know, good fathers, they do three things. They provide, they nurture, and they guide. Yes. Provide, nurture, and guide. And the provide part, a lot of times guys will make that economics. I can't don't have the right job, that kind of esteem in the public square, then I can't do anything else. But it's not just about presence with a T, but presence with a CE. And part of that, frankly, is our culture. We almost talk about fathers almost solely as providers. That's right. You look at the way the government sort of treats fathers. We have a child support system for dads who aren't married to mom, and then we have the tax code for the rest of us. Yeah, but there aren't really programs that really focus on the other aspects, which is nurturing, connecting heart to heart with your kids, the emotional well-being of your kids, and guiding, which is instilling values. And I find lots of guys like this, when they do that, they feel like I'm not worthy to be there.
Or the kryptonite for men. I have found the kryptonite for men is inadequacy. Yeah. If they have any sense or feeling or belief about inadequacy. Yeah. I'm not good enough for this, I can't do that, I won't do it right. Is that accurate? Don't let me talk about you like you're not here. Yeah.
Well, that's why I was trying, you just nailed it. As I was saying, you have this version of yourself as being the perfect person, or as perfect as you can be.
Well, here's another point. I just asked him a question, which is, I already knew the answer before I asked him. And I said, what kind of father did you have?
My father wasn't there.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So you create this script of what this ideal father is supposed to be. And then you try to live up to a script that's not reality. You're talking about that. And then when you don't, you feel I'm not worthy and you pull away. And this is why I was.
And you're more likely to create the script when you haven't seen what a real father is.
That's right.
Kyle said he wondered why his father could not, why every day he made that choice. And we said he didn't really make the choice. He wasn't thinking. I think what every child wants to know is, were you thinking about me? Were you thinking about your children?
Wait a minute, hold that thought. Sit 1 second. Come here, Kyle, and listen to a dad tell you what he was thinking when he wasn't in his child's life. Talk to him. Come, baby. Talk to him.
For me,
as a father, what I thought about.
I thought about my children every day. And I thought about them consistently. Just because I wasn't there didn't mean I didn't love them. I loved them terribly. I loved them to the point where I had put them on that pedestal and I had to work on me before I could reach them on that pedestal. So maybe your father hasn't reached that moment where he's comfortable with who he is in order to be a part of your life.
Period. Thank you.
See, there may be several reasons why dad is not involved. All right? We should be trying to find out why. And try to connect dad once again with the child and the family. Research what resources in our communities that will serve fathers, and if they don't have any, you create one. You create one. Know the individual needs of the fathers you serve. Concise intake evaluation. Be a source of mediation between father and mom, and even father and child. Become knowledgeable on laws pertaining to custody, visitation, and child support. All right, you may have dad come to you and say, I wouldn't be in my child's life. I have, we haven't gone through court, but she's keeping my child away. You don't want to get too involved as far as telling, him, well, you need to go to court and get what you can from the child's mother. Call mom in and say, listen, dad came to me there are certain things that we can't do, right? So if you come to us, mom, and say, dad can't come pick up the child, unless you have a court order, we have to allow dad to come in and get the child. We can't do that. We're not a court, we're not a judge. You know, if you can provide proof or evidence that the child is in danger, then we would definitely acknowledge that. But we cannot, because you're not happy with dad. Allow dad not to come in and be a part of the child's life. It's very important that dad is there. And build a relationship with the local family court just for informational purposes. All right. They may be able to come in and do a workshop in your Head Start if you don't know the laws pertaining to family and dads. Okay. Now, did you know that Head Start actually has a national father program? Or they did. I guess it died out a couple of years ago. But it was called HIM. His Involvement Matters. Okay. Children who have an involved father are more likely to be emotionally secure, be confident to explore their surroundings, and as they grow older, have better social connections with peers. This is from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Right, the website is there. They have additional stats there as well. But his involvement matters. Dad involvement matters. We should be trying to reconnect dad with the child and the family because his involvement matters. Okay? Now, this would be in an ideal situation, but some cases, dad may not want to be involved. This is a 4-minute video of a young girl who's a little older now who did a poetry poem about her experience growing up without a father. It's about a 4-minute long video. Really hits home.
I read your obituary for breakfast this morning. As I sat staring at the biography of your years, I couldn't help but to see what was missing. The day you were born and the night your brown body became a corpse were the only times I've seen you be selfless. In between, you lived a musical life, one that sounded of an alphabetical orchestra. Your favorite song was the letter U. I was your daughter. They didn't tell the truth in your obituary, Daddy. They left out some things that I want to share if they haven't already seen the forgotten pieces shivering in my eyes. Your eyes are mine. I see you when the mirror decides to hang your self-portrait on my bathroom walls. Why didn't they tell of how much you love playing games, Father? I promise you were the best player at hide and go seek that I've ever seen. Tell them your little ones that you will come see them tomorrow. Playing double dutch with our emotions. There was a dice game in your eyes and you died in mine every time my tomorrow became a lucky 7 games of peekaboo that only you won at. I quit a long time ago. Why didn't they mention the day that we stood face to face, child to parent, father speaks, I love you, but if you and your siblings never wanted to speak to me again, I wouldn't care. Daughter hears the crackling of fire laughing in her heart, burning away any force of trust I could ever have for a man. I saw honesty in your eyes at that moment and it scared the vulnerability out of me. Why didn't they mention how much you love swimming, Father? I would have asked if you could hear the ocean behind my sarcasm. Smell the sandstorm in my skin. I have spent years swallowing every hourglass I can find, attempting to steal back the time that we had. I was drowning yourself in shark-infested seas a week before your obituary was written. I received a text from a friend that read, "Sorry about your dad." What a comical way to find out that your father is gone. The night that motorcycle flung your soul into eternity, I knew your death wouldn't be too hard to get used to, seeing that you were a deadbeat my entire life. So let's start over, Daddy. I will rewrite your obituary for you. Make a metaphor of your life. The daughter that you gave your genes away to but can never seem to fit inside of your pockets grew up to be a poet. She shreds mics open and makes dead things come to life for a living. Only if you can live twice. You would have been the double entendre I could never write, so let's just write about how good you were to me. And you told me I was beautiful, so I didn't have to murder my integrity to resurrect my dying self-esteem. Held your daughter to your chest till she heard your heart split itself into a lifetime of I love yous that choked out her addiction to affirmation from other fathers that feeds Daddy. I would tell them how you made me feel worth it, so I never had to buy back my soul from bankrupt sheets belonging to little boys that were too poor to purchase my body with a bended knee, Daddy. I will chisel into the dashes of your death dates. I have kept every promise that crawled out of your hands and into my memory, so it was easy for me to believe that my Father in heaven isn't a liar like my daddy on earth. We cannot forget to tell them how you lived to walk your daughter down the aisle, look her husband in the face and say, it is I, her protector, her provider, her father, who gives her to you to do the same. See, Daddy, you have a brand new obituary now. The old one wasn't honest enough. And now, neither is your daughter.
Thing is, the reality is some dads may not want to get involved. You know? Our hope would be that dad would want to take up that mantle of fatherhood and get involved. And I believe, and here's the thing about dads. Dad may not be involved in a child's life. But if dad hears that his child, who he may not know, is in danger, most cases dad would come to the rescue. You know, but when it's time to care and be there, nurture, sometimes dads just don't want to be involved in that area, in that arena of the child's life. So what do we do then? What if the dad does not want to be involved? We can try to connect the child with a responsible role model that would mentor and father, in a sense, that child. What mentoring does, it provides a network of caring adults looking to parent a child. What's the purpose of a net? To catch, all right? What happens if there's a hole in the net? It will fall through, right? So our hope is that we would network, connect, build up mentoring programs for these children who are growing up without dads, in hopes that they will not fall through the cracks of the negative statistics that society say that they will wind up being. Provide support to single mothers. It provides a chance at increased self-worth in the fatherless child, a feeling of worthiness and wanting. Who here has seen that? Actually, if you were in the Kenneth Braswell's, you'll see the episode or that segment in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Will Smith and his father had an interaction. His father left, and Will Smith was extremely angry, and he said that he didn't need him, and then it ended with, before he cried, why doesn't he want me? Okay. One of the hardest things for a young child to feel is unwanted. So if there's a positive role model that's willing to take out the time for a child, we should welcome them. We should encourage single moms to welcome that as well. Provide insight into gender-appropriate relationships. It provides educational support. Okay. How can you find a mentor? Know your community and connect with community leaders. There are a lot of mentoring groups in every community. So research it. And if you don't know of any, or if there aren't any, what do? Create one. Background checks, non-negotiable. Make sure that you do background checks. If you're going to start a program that's going to implement mentoring, there's got to be an extensive background check. Ask single mothers for recommendation. Very important, because the single mom may know a male that she trusts with her child. Try to connect that individual with the child's family and see if you would be willing to take some time out to be a big brother or a mentor or a father figure to that child. Allow single mothers to interview potential mentors and demand commitments. Demand commitments. The last thing a child needs is a sketchy father and a sketchy mentor. So demand commitments. Make sure that they are able to commit to being a part of the child's life. A proven degree of responsibility. A full-time job. May have been a grandfather with kids who have finished college and are, well-rounded individuals. But look for a degree of responsibility in them, okay? Have some experience with children, okay? One of the things that I believe is that every child deserves a dad. Every child deserves a father, okay? Reconnection between father and child, possible mediation between father, mother, and child. If a father refuses to be involved, mentoring is a viable option. Our children are at stake. And if you go back and read the statistics, we see how important it is for the children to have a positive male role model in their life. The truth is, that's going to affect how we live, how society will affect us as we get older. Not just the children, but us as well, okay? Now, at this time, I'm going to open the floor to some questions and comments. Now, I know you had Amber, right?
Yes.
You had a question.
My thing was just like you said, finding new ideas and new ways to involve fathers, because I do have a handful, and literally a handful of fathers that are always there, that come and sit down and read, but I don't always want to see them. I would like to see more fathers, younger fathers, and just if anybody has any ideas on how I can do that.
It's that those fathers that are usually coming in, they gauge that.
Yeah, now listen, we did that. And no lie, I had two people. We did that, we said, because I have one in particular, Mr. Wilson. They had children late in life, and I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. He's going forward with the kids any given time. He's helping serve the lunch and everything. So he was one of the fathers that we had chosen. Hey, let's try to get the young, try to mentor the young ones, show them what they can do. And I mean, he even went beyond himself, and then we set up. We got the room all done. He's ready to go, and I got 2 people sitting. So
let me ask you a question. Who's the person that's organizing it and doing all the contacts?
I am.
Okay, Mr. Wilson should be.
Okay. Okay.
He should be the one, and I'm going to share my experience. Before I took over, I wasn't always working for Head Start. I started working with Head Start in March of 2012, and began running the fatherhood program there. And I don't think it's me that change started to happen. I think it's pretty much my gender.
Yeah, being another man, talking to another man.
And that's the thing. Let's say you have a father who's not that involved, right? And he's hearing from the mom, you ain't nothing, you're a deadbeat, blah, 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 I don't want that. But then he comes into a program, right? And he sees a female who's running it. And it's not that you are not qualified or you can't do it, because you absolutely can. But to the dad, he's already like having so much drama with mom when he comes in. He may not want another female telling him how to be a dad.
Yeah.
So maybe Mr. Wilson could be your assistant. You could say, listen, Mr. Wilson, is it possible that you take over the fatherhood program? If you could volunteer time to take over the fatherhood program, whatever resources you need, you let me know, and I would give you everything that you need. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend giving him all the personal phone numbers of the people, but maybe he can come in one day and make the phone calls from the school and stuff like that. So that could be a helpful option.
Sounds good, because as I said, he's just like one of the fathers. Like he's even on TAPC. That's how good he is. I mean, he's into everything, and he's like. And I have another father that like if children don't have the money, I have another father that sponsors the kids that don't have money. He'll pay for all the trips. So I do have a couple that I can really count on that really care. So I will try to work closely and work more with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
At our agency, we also utilize the nephews. Any male figure that is in we utilize the nephews, the uncles, the step brother, just whoever is available and that is willing to help. That's a man. We welcome that, and we see a lot of that at our site. We may not see the fathers around, but the uncles.
Yeah,
the
I got a
nephews.
couple of grandfathers, just thinking about it. I got a couple of grandpas who come in and, for their grandchildren. So, you know, it's like they're dotted, it's like here and there.
And one thing I'm not shy about is making them feel bad. Hey, where you going? What do you mean? We got a father program. Where you going? You gonna go park the car and walk?
Everybody kind of knows, I'll pull you in the door no matter what you're doing. You go in, I'll walk you with you, hurry up.
Yeah.
So I'm always there.
Right. I think too, one of the things that we do when we know that we have a fatherhood meeting, we kind of we have like a whole greeting committee at the door. And we're telling the fathers, oh, they're coming, and you're going to stay right today. Remember, we have our father. And then, you know, they say, oh, how, and then we'll tell them, oh, we have whatever. Sometimes we catch them with the donuts and that kind of stuff. But we're there. We have a greeting committee. And we tell them, listen, you're going to stay today. It's only a few minutes. Don't worry. You know, it's going to be good. And we just kind of like encourage them to stay. And a lot of them do stay. They do stay. When you're right there and they see you, or they're going to, hey, wait a minute, are you coming back? And then, you know, that kind of stuff. I think that obligates them to stay.
Because like sometimes, like most of them I have my meetings in the classroom, but if I'm talking to one, the other ones are passing me by on the side.
Right.
Oh, I'm trying to grab you. You don't even know how hard it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, go sit me. I'm right back, and I gotta run down and sit and catch this one. And he's like, oh, no, I can't stay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I gotta run back and hope this one didn't leave because I ran after him. Listen, I mean, sometimes my head is like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You would never get you out.
Are they engaging once they're there?
Hmm?
Are you engaged? Do they talk to you? Do they communicate? Do they interact?
Well, the great thing is he's available. And he's the one who's giving the workshops. He's the one who's dealing with the parents. And like he was saying earlier in reference to who is the one that is contacting the parents, the fact that there is a male there and they do become involved, because for them, when it's just, I'm not there when he's doing the workshops, I leave. Because if they want to talk about whatever, they have the freedom. They're not worried about, oh, look, some woman is there or whatever. They have the freedom to talk to him, and I think men feel more open to speak to another man than they do when, to a female, or if there's a female, present in the room.
How long is the workshop?
The workshops range in time, depending on what he's going to be doing with them.
Yeah, and we try to be considerate of work. Dads take time in the mornings to come. So we usually do our workshops or our programs in the morning time. Right when they come in. All right, so they come in, drop the kids off. All right, stay for a little bit. We have a workshop activity. Last month we did a storybook. We had the dads bring their children to our family room, and they created a storybook. So the child was the author, and the dad was an illustrator. So the child would make up a story, and dad would draw the pictures of the story. So things like that, and they call it, and also a call to action. So after every time you guys meet, give some kind of homework that they can go home and practice with your child. Before I get to you, I'm going to get to I don't know your name.
Oh, Gloria.
Gloria, how are you?
The other people that you said,
But the other people that you mentioned that were the smaller group of men that were pretty on time and really always involved, wouldn't they be able to help that leading young? Let's say you have that man that you said would be best, Mr. Wilson, and let's say he's on top, and all the others would be like the board or supporting kind of people, because if you need a lot more people at the door to grab this and grab that to keep them from running away. You need so you need to support that.
I do all the monthly meetings and the DPC meetings. I'm the scheduler.
You gotta let it go.
I schedule everything.
She gotta let go and let God. That's right.
Yes, I do all the scheduling for everything. But I do have a question for you. Do you do workshops?
I do.
I need to schedule something with you.
Okay.
I would
Actually,
really like.
on the back of the
I see. Okay, we're gonna get together.
Now, I'm going to go back because I try to be a man of my word. Wait, before I get to that, you had a question.
I have a question. You said engage both parents with this. How do you, I'm just going to give you an example because this is something that we came up with. We have a child that the mom was a domestic violence with the dad, okay? But the dad does see the child every Sunday, okay? But their mother and the father cannot be nowhere together.
Yeah.
How can you engage these two parents for this child?
I would say separate, of course. Separate.
Just do that one separate.
But is there a court order?
Yes.
For visitation?
Yes,
Do you have
only
a copy
outside
of that?
days.
Oh, so you can't see the child outside of Sundays?
Excuse me?
You can't see the child outside of Sundays?
Right.
Is he limited to, like, so it's just Sunday? So if he was to come into a fathering program or activity, he's not allowed?
Right.
Okay.
Not
then-
for right now.
For right
Not
now?
for right now.
Then I would stay in touch with the mom about that and talk to her about why it's important for dad to have more access to the child. Now, if the child is in danger, I would say to let that ride, because if the child is in danger physically, then it could be best that Sunday, and is it supervised visitation?
Yes, for right now, supervised.
Then I wouldn't recommend anything at this point, unless anything changed with visitation. If things change with visitation, then talk to mom about allowing dad to be more involved and going to the court to see if they could have him come to father meetings. But you also got to think of the whole picture. Was there any history of violence for the child?
No.
Okay, then, but you got to think about that. If he violence toward the child, you don't want to have an episode in school, because let's face it, we're a Head Start program. We're not equipped to deal with a dad having a violent episode inside, class. So you also got to think of the program as well. But if there's a court order, a visitation, I wouldn't do anything until after that's amended. Yes. Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Lee.
As Mr. Harris has said before, I'm the Head Start director in the program that he's talking from, and I just want to say that we're very fortunate of having Andre Harrison as our fatherhood involvement coordinator and one of our family workers. It's really very important to have a male in the program, like a Head Start program, not only as a family worker, but we also have a male as one of our classroom teachers. And I think it really adds a lot to the program, and you should consider trying to do the same if you're in that capacity.
Any other questions? There was one personal deep. Yes. Can you ask that one more time? I just want to make sure did you write it down?
Yes. I told you that the statistic that stood out to me the most was relevant to incarceration. But then I thought, because you made a comment about that you're fatherless and you're divorced, I was wondering if you think there are statistics, and how do you feel your being fatherless affected your relationship and may have caused divorce?
I put so much. Okay. My priorities were out of whack. I'll say that. I didn't put my wife above my kids. Okay. So my ex-wife wanted to experience life. Okay. All right. Today I'm doing this workshop from St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. Her and I never traveled together. We never had anything outside of our kids, ever. We didn't travel to a tropical country. The furthest we've been was the Florida Keys, which was nice, but at that point it was too late. I was trying to give my ex-wife the excitement in our marriage that she wanted to. However, the dad part, down pat. My goal was to be the best that I can be, because I didn't have that kind of father. So I desired family. I wanted family. More so, I wanted to be a father. So I love my kids. I put everything into my kids, even before my marriage. So me not having a father was definitely part of that, because I put so much emphasis on what I did for my kids, and not for what I did for my kid's mother. All right. Now, was I a bad husband? No. I did adore my wife. I just put my kids so far above the needs of my marriage that she felt that she needed to find excitement elsewhere.
Okay, just a quick follow-up for that. I've been married this year 30 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Because in May we had our anniversary.
You don't look like you've been married 30 years.
I know. Thank you. But one of the things I have to say, my husband is not a walk in the park. You know, he's a great guy. I mean, I love him. He's not a walk in the park. And I know from when I look back over the years we've been together, when you run into these rough points where someone has a difference in priorities and understanding who they are and understanding their value, and even if one person shakes your value and they don't really value you the way you want to be valued, you have to have some tenacity. And I have to be honest with everybody, I prayed about it. Whenever I got to that serious section that was rock, and I said, God, you need to help me. I just went someplace, I prayed about it. And I actually started seeing the change. And I kept on doing it, kept on going away praying about it. I was really stuck. I really needed some help because it was not easy. So I'm telling any of you going to marry a long time, you got to really be serious and committed to this. Even when you have your oldest selfish, I can't say when she was selfish, but she had different desires. But you have to stick it out because you'll see the blessing and the glory with it. If you don't stick it out, you'll never know. So I'm sorry she missed out on your greatness and the beauty that you had in the later part of your life. So that was her mistake or yours. I don't know, but God is good. He works it all.
But we are trying our best to work together to raise our kids.
That's good.
So
thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Well, I appreciate your truth and your candor. I really do. I mean, you know, fatherlessness affects us well, not everybody, but it affects a lot of people in different ways. And going back to what she said, like I have my daughter at 18, her father was not there, but I met a man who came from a 2-parent home who had a mother and father who was a father to my daughter. We have a daughter together, and my oldest daughter is 26, and all she knows is him. That's her father. You know, luckily he loved her and he shared with her and he showed her that, you know, I'm not just, oh, you're my stepdaughter. Never was that. And it's been 21 years. And she has a father. So I got, like I said, I did get lucky. But I just appreciate you sharing with the whole.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys saying. Before you go, you fill out the evaluation. Did I give those out?
No.
No? No. Sorry. I have the evaluations here. And if you didn't sign in, we have to sign this sheet right here.
I signed it.
Thank you very much. All right, if you guys hold on this, I have those for you guys.
Thank you.
So listen, how many married women was you? I got a married.